Welcome to Bunny Bet for round 5 NRL tips. First up, just want to issue a bit of a warning to any snowflakes that are out there. You might want to change or swap videos because this video might get a bit loose. And the reason being is because I am pissed. I'm still pissed because of these two teams, which we know now are just frauds. I had my doubts about them, that's why I didn't bet on them in round 1. But then they came a bit better and got a bit better, and they honestly fooled me. They had me thinking that they were top teams, possibly top 8. I'm going to talk a bit more about that later when I actually get down into the tips. I won't bother talking about their performance at the moment because I'm trying to keep these videos nice and quick. I don't want to dwell too much on things. So just a quick recap on last week. Last week I went 5-3. Well, okay, technically I went 4-4. I'm not going to count the Roosters game because even the NRL came out and later admitted the bunker got it wrong. Well, thanks, pricks. You know, what about my money I lost? What about that? Are you going to refund me or anything like that? Just terrible decision. So an update on the bunny. Last week in my video, I said I was betting on rabbits and dolphins to win, and I won that bet. It was all going good, but then those pricks I mentioned before, the Raiders, I was just, for some reason, I thought with Cronulla forward pack just decimated and then moving players around, Hazelton moving to front row, Talakai moving to back row, I was just so convinced that Raiders were going to win. So I went and put my bunny stake on the Raiders, and of course you know how that went. We've gone back down to 0. So then I was just really upset and angry about that, and I thought, right, I'm going to put money on. I'm going to bet on the Eels now because sure the Eels won't lose to. And then we know what happened there as well. So one of the things I always seem to do when I start going well, I lose a bit of control, and especially if I start losing bets, I lose more control, and that is exactly what happened. I just went full arsehole, and you never go full arsehole.
Everybody knows you never go full retard. What do you mean?
So I'd like to sincerely apologise if you bet on the Raiders, especially because I was so heavy on them. I released those shorts, and I feel like a fool. I'm upset at myself just so much, but hopefully we can turn that around, we can move on, and we can do better this week. First up, we've got Storm versus Broncos, and I was kind of thinking that this may be close, and I was leaning towards Broncos, but the more and more I look at Melbourne, the more players they're getting back, and I think Broncos have a newbie as well on. And so Melbourne at home, so many players back, and losing last week, they'll want to start winning again. So Melbourne for me. Friday night, Bulldogs versus Roosters. This Roosters for sure. I cannot see Roosters losing this. I think Roosters are the better team. Bulldogs have Addo Carr out, which you might think, well, he's only a winger, but he does get involved a lot. I think he plays more like a centre on that edge than just hanging out being a winger. And we've seen how good the Roosters are. The Roosters can score standing on their head. And last week, Penrith versus the Roosters, I think Roosters were actually the better team in that game. But they're also the worst team. And what I mean by that is just the handling errors. Their completion rate was atrocious there for a while. I think Penrith had twice the amount of possession in the first half. They were killing them. Roosters, they had a try going in the corner. All the guy had to do was pass the ball for some reason, hung on to it. They got that short kick off, and I thought, great, they're making a comeback. And the very next play, they knocked it on. But even though they didn't have much possession, when they finally got possession, when they didn't cough it over, it did not take them long at all to score. They quickly got down to Penrith's end and quickly ran it in. I found it maybe a bit alarming for Penrith just how easily they were able to score when they were controlling the ball and not knocking it on. Against the Bulldogs, it's going to be a lot easier. Bulldogs' defence is not going to just pressure the Roosters like the Penrith defence did, and I think they have no trouble winning this game. For that reason, they are my first bunny bet. Now, the odds weren't very good, so I did -5.5 points. I did I do think they're going to win by -10. I think that's pretty safe bet anyway. But just to keep it a bit safer, I went -5.5 and got $1.48 for that one. Then we have the Knights and Dragons. The Knights are at home with only a 1-3 record, and the Dragons are probably feeling pretty good about themselves after just beating Manly. So Newcastle are under all the pressure here. They're at home. I think they're the better team. They're still a little bit rusty, but they have shown glimpses of brilliance. And I think the Knights get this done. So that is why they are actually my second bunny bet, my bunny builder. Then we have the Rabbits, your team, not doing good. And I don't know what to make of the Rabbits. There's all this talk about their culture, their discipline, or lack of discipline, I should say. We all know about Sam Burgess going out and just blasting the club, saying that they don't want to deal with their players. And I don't know, maybe we are seeing that. I don't think their performance was very good at all against the Bulldogs. They should have just blown the Bulldogs away, but they ended up only just winning. But I'm actually going to back them here because I think they are still a very talented team. Hopefully they'll be looking just to come out and shut up their critics. I mean, that's the attitude I would like them to see. The Warriors are on a bit of a roll. They've been winning. So now away from home, it might not be so easy. The Rabbits, I'm sure, are desperate just to get another win, desperate to start the ball rolling, their 2024 campaign going, and I'm picking them to win this game. Then we've got the Eagles versus the Panthers. Yeah, I know, but I'm bitter and I'm a prick, so deal with it. And my God, what a shithouse, disgusting efforts the Eagles put in last week. They were definitely the worst effort of any of the teams last week. And okay, you might argue, well, what about the Titans? You're saying they're better than the Titans? Look, we expect the Titans to lose. We don't expect the Eagles to go down to St. George. They were pitiful. And the thing was, St. George were playing bad. St. George, I think, at one stage only had a 50% conversion rate. One of the players got hit, St. George player, I think, got hit roughly in about his 20-metre zone, coughed up the ball, and literally the ball came straight out to a Manly player. So literally, St. George were throwing Manly the ball, saying, oh, look, what can you do? We just want to muck up as much as we can today. And even with all of that, even with a million tackles down in the Dragons' red zone, they just could not cross the line. They were absolutely pathetic. I don't know what the story was. It looks like they're just the same old up and down Eagles. And they're playing the Panthers. Okay, I know Cleary's out, but Harris is back. And when Cleary's out, that just gives Luai more chance to do his thing. And Luai is more than capable of putting that team around the park. Penrith's attitude is just way better. We see the players, we see the team. They just want to win. They don't slack off. They're 100% effort for the whole game. So if St. George bothered the Eagles last week, then what are they going to do against the Panthers? Panthers, for my mind, win this one. And God knows, the Eagles might bounce back, but I don't think so. Dolphins versus the Tigers. This one is going to be great. I'm looking forward to this one, and I'm looking forward to see whether the Tigers can keep this up, how committed they are. They look like they just want to win. They don't care what people are saying about them. This is a team, honestly, they look like the Panthers. Just their attitude, the team attitude is akin to the Panthers, where every player is just wanting to try their hardest and do their best. And I am actually going to pick them here versus the Dolphins because of that reason. And I'm hoping that they come out and they still have that attitude. Who knows that they won't come out every game. They're going to eventually come out and play probably a horrible game. But I'm really hoping that they bring that. And the Dolphins, we've seen the Dolphins' defense have issues at times, be pretty paper thin at times. And the way the Tigers just attack, I think they'll definitely score. And also, if we look at the Dolphins and who they played, the first week they played the Cowboys and they got smashed. Then they played the Dragons and the Titans. Hardly really good competition, definitely not top 8 teams. Tigers get Naden and Twal back. So I'm going to pick them here. Then we've got Cowboys and Titans. Not really much at all to say about this game. The line, the odds are just not good enough to bet on it. The line is 16 points. I actually took that last week in a multi, but I think I'm going to cash it out this week because who knows? The Titans showed some promise last week, and this being a local derby, they can always be close, but then again, it could just be a blowout. Cowboys win for sure. By how many points? I don't know. The line, 16 points. If I absolutely had to bet on it, I would probably bet on Cowboys minus the points. And then for our last game, we've got the Brown Machine taking on the Eagles. And the Brown Machine were just terrible last week. Honestly terrible. Blowing out Cronulla very easily, very convincingly to an 18-point win. And then just letting, I don't know what happened. They let their foot off the gas. And then when Sharks scored, they thought, oh crap, we're in a game here. We better get back into it again. But momentum have already shifted, and it looks like the Raiders are the same old faders that everyone used to call them before. Looks like they're just going to fade away. It looks like they're not an 80-minute team as yet. And ironically, even though the Sharks are playing with the backup forward pack and what was supposedly what we thought would be the weaker forward pack, the Sharks look better in the forward. And most of the game they were just running through the forward line. Yeah, absolutely just terrible performance by the Raiders. I hate myself for being fooled by them. This week they are the favourites, only just. But, I'm going to pick the Eels here because I think the Eels are the better team. The Eels are coming off a loss as well, so they'll definitely want to get that right. So that's my picks this week. Hopefully it's been quick. Hopefully you've enjoyed the time with me and the bunny, and appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe. Thank you.